Good evening, everyone. My name is Marieme Foote. It's a pleasure being here and working with you all to advance Peace Corps advocacy initiatives. Thank you all, and it's great to see you. So first, I'd like to introduce our panelists for tonight for our new initiatives for a Peace Corps panel. First, I'd like to introduce Anna Cron, who served in the Dominican Republic from 2017 to 2020, Daniel Lang, who served in Mongolia from 2019 to 2020, Jodi Hammer, who served in Ecuador from 1994 to 1997, and Adam Greenberg, who served in Zambia from 2018 to 2020. Since coming back in 2020, I've had a wonderful opportunity of working alongside this panel, and hearing their voices has been a source of great inspiration to me. As Peace Corps starts back up and we envision a future, the reauthorization is a big start to that. So first, I'd like to start with Anna. Could you answer the question, what are some components of the reauthorization bill that you feel are key to bringing the Peace Corps to the future? And what are some of the work that you've done to do that?
Definitely. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. As Marieme mentioned, I served in the Dominican Republic as both a volunteer and then as a Peace Corps volunteer leader until the evacuation in 2020, and then stayed on and really helped advocate for different rights and benefits Peace Corps volunteers could have as support during the global pandemic. And so specific to the Reauthorization Act, as Congressman Garamendi, Nancy, and Sarah kind of touched on, two of the aspects that I think are most important are the Menstrual Product Act and then the post-service health insurance. And just a disclaimer that each post operates very differently, despite being housed under the same agency. And so I'm really going to speak to my experience with Peace Corps Dominican Republic and then advocating for those evacuated Peace Corps volunteers from different posts after evacuation. And so specifically to the Menstrual Products Act, currently Peace Corps does not have a standardized stipend or provide menstrual products to every single post. They do to some posts. They provide maybe reusable menstrual cups or an additional stipend that is opt-in to the monthly VICA, or they'll have pads and tampons available to volunteers, but that's only in certain posts. And so through actually the Women's and Peace Corps Facebook group, we came to realize that there was really this inconsistency and that some posts provided products that others did not. And so really making sure that Peace Corps created some sort of standardized response and support to volunteers for this, which can be seen on page 10 of the Act. I believe the link was sent earlier. And then I'm not going to keep harping on the post Peace Corps health insurance. I think Sarah and Nancy did an incredible job and know way more of the technicalities and have been advocating for years. But I just want to mention that it was extremely hard, as you can imagine, to come back during a global pandemic and have an insurance that is really not received by many providers. And on top of that, have to try to navigate this very complex system. I think that during the close of service conference that many posts facilitate, it's inconsistent on what volunteers hear in terms of their benefits when they return to the US and have to reintegrate in. And so really making sure that that's more clear and understanding the process to receive those post-service health insurance benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. It's been a pleasure to work alongside you as well since coming back and being evacuated. And it's great to see your face again. Thank you. And so I'm going to move on to Jodi. Jodi, could you speak to some of the components in the reauthorization bill that you feel passionate about and you think are really important to moving the Peace Corps into the future?
Sure. I think, first of all, I think the reauthorization bill is amazing and there are so many important things, but for the interest of time, and you have other panelists as well, I'm going to focus on one area in particular, and that is the extension of NCE. Non-competitive eligibility is such a great benefit for returned Peace Corps volunteers, allowing them to get hired easier and quicker into federal jobs where we need more talented and flexible people and all those skills skills that Peace Corps volunteers bring. So I've worked actually with RPCVs for about 15 years now, first with the Peace Corps headquarters, running their career center and doing career and transitional assistance and helping people get jobs when they got back. And I'm really fortunate now to be working with NPCA and their global reentry programs. So in both of those jobs, I'm definitely interacting with a lot of the RPCVs. And as great as NCE is, the problem is when there are emergencies like, a government closure, or there's something like a pandemic, your NCE, you get 1 year of NCE and it ticks down, right? And unless it's kind of complicated. There's 3 reasons for extension beyond a year. And suffice it to say, it's inadequate right now for situations like that. And so the reauthorization bill, it provides, it would stop the clock from ticking, right, when the government has a shutdown, because that's not your fault, right? And so if you come back at the wrong time, you might not be able to get a job with NCE. So stops that clock from ticking. It also really, it changes it to just a flat 2-year NCE. That's the House bill. The Senate one actually, I believe, is 3 years, which would coincide with the exact same thing for Peace Corps staff when they get their non-competitive eligibility, which would simplify it. There's no extensions. It's just a flat 3 years. No reason to say, unless you go to grad school or join the military or engage in a service that Peace Corps or that the agency warrants, deems warrants extensions. So it would really simplify NCE. And so I'm a huge fan of that. And I'm going to stop at that and let the others speak of other benefits.
Thank you, Jodi. How has Peace Corps impacted your service and your continued service after you finished? And what has that led you to now since being back?
Regarding this authorization bill, which, as a book editor and proofreader, I'll just mention having read through it. One of the first things I noticed is the changing of gendered language, I'll just say, from where it very often says he and replaces it with the individual. And that for some that might seem like a minor thing, but I think as we move into the future, recognizing everyone's ability to identify as they do, I think it speaks to the future that we're recognizing that in the bill. More so, other specific things, expanding the virtual service pilot, making that a regular thing. We are living in the internet age. It's amazing that we are doing this right now on Zoom, and being able to use that technology around the world. I was not able to directly participate in the virtual service this past 2 years since it started, but not 3 days ago, I'll tell you, the head teacher of the school, Mr. Tisha, where we live, and will be returning to, he still sends me documents. He sent me a spreadsheet and asked if I could add 30 rows to the bottom of the column.
For me, Peace Corps service was really my first foray in doing international development type work, particularly in Asia. And well, in all these 2 years, it still hasn't left me. And throughout the pandemic, I would do kind of informal service, continued with my community, whether it was virtual English calls, or similarly, if someone needed something proofread, whether it's my old CPs or even CPs I met at IST and other Peace Corps conferences. So I've been in touch with them for the last 2 years, and particularly with this Peace Corps Reauthorization Act, I really do appreciate being able to be at that front of the line to get back out there and serve. Right now, I'm at least for the past 2 years been doing more short-term contracts, at least to make sure that my work schedule would be flexible enough that when we get the call back, I can go back. But I also would like legislation to do the same. And so in my case, I'll be going to Asia this spring to work with the mission. And what's really attracted me to it is the fact that they use a very Peace Corps-like model of really talking to communities, getting to know their needs from them. And I think that for me, as a returned Peace Corps volunteer, that's what I really looked for. I felt like if I was talking to a development group that wasn't using that model, that would be a red flag to me. So I think even just my own experience, I'd only gotten to serve for 9 months before we were evacuated. But I feel like it's really shown me what is the best approach to be able to give people the support that they need. So still waiting, doing everything I can in the meantime, but I really do look forward to the day that I can finally go back to Mongolia and be among the people that I committed to serve before the pandemic.
Thank you, Daniel. And Adam, could you share your plans as well?
I'm excited to say that my partner and I, Leanne, will be returning to Zambia, and we're going to continue working with small-scale fish farmers. And another aspect, not just the fish farming that we're excited to work on, though, that we had started towards the end of our service, because we had just been accepted to extend for a third year right before the evacuation, is to help create more local language educational content. So the idea is that volunteers in the field could have videos regarding fish farming specifically, but other areas as well, in local language, highlighting the specifics of that process. The early bits of what we were able to do towards the end of our service, the community was very excited about it. So we'd be happy to keep doing that.
Thank you. I'm very excited to hear all of your continued work and the work that you've already done. Your service means a lot to everyone, and I'd like to thank you all again for joining us tonight.